In 1494, Christopher Columbus landed in Jamaica. He recognized the island's rich potential for growing sugar, a very lucrative commodity at the time. So Oliver Cromwell, in 1655, sent the British Navy to successfully capture the island from the Spanish. It was defended with the help of buccaneers, the most notorious of whom was Captain Henry Morgan, useful to the British Crown because he was plundering Spanish galleons as they made their way laden with gold and silver from South America. For this, Henry Morgan was rewarded with a knighthood and made governor of Jamaica. The largest British Caribbean island, by 1770, there were 680 plantations. For over 200 years, it was the world's leading individual sugar producer. Many of Britain's wealthiest families trace their fortunes to Jamaica, once called the jewel in the British crown. The vast profits helped finance the Industrial Revolution that made mass production possible, boosting the British economy to world dominance. The Abeng horn summoned slaves to the sugar fields, but was also the communication used by the Maroons, the runaway slaves who fought a long and bitter battle with the British Army. It was the first successful slave rebellion resulting in a peace treaty. The Maroons set up their own communities in the mountainous interior of Jamaica, where their descendants live to this day. After slavery was abolished in 1838, sugar rapidly declined, forcing Jamaica to diversify its economy with the cultivation of coffee and bananas. They turned their hands to making arts and crafts, but unemployment remained rife.
It is one of the worst unemployment problems in the world.
What proportion of your people?
I would say it's chronic at about 20%
Of the working population?
of the working population, and tending to rise. Obviously, in those conditions, emigration is a very valuable outlet to us. But most avenues of emigration are closed.
Not, of course, Britain.
Britain is the only one that is open. And now that Britain has more than zero unemployment, Jamaicans who are very adventurous are coming to England in goodly numbers, currently at the rate of about 10,000 a year.
But some did not welcome them. In 1962, Jamaica won its independence. The first Jamaican Prime Minister, Alexander Bustamante, heralded in an exciting decade of expansion in trade and tourism. James Bond writer Ian Fleming lived on the island in this house called Goldeneye, and Dr. No, the very first Bond film, was filmed in Jamaica. The 1970s saw a revival of Black political and cultural awakening. Jamaican-born nationalist who, in 1914, founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association with the aim to unite Black people worldwide. But his ambitious program was too radical for colonial Jamaica, and it was in New York in 1916 that Garvey's oration captured the imagination of tens of millions of followers around the world. He challenged the white shipping monopoly by setting up the Black Star Line Corporation, whose ships were to take Black people back to Africa. An inspirational figure for later civil rights activists, Garvey wrote, "A race without power and authority is a race without respect. Where is the Black man's government? Where is the Black man's king?" Garvey prophesied that a Black king crowned in Africa would redeem the lost tribe of Israel and call them home. When Haile Selassie, a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, was crowned in 1930, the Rastafarians in Jamaica proclaimed that Garvey's prophecy had come true. Rastafarians call Selassie Jah and worship him as a living Messiah.
Jah is the creator of the universe.
It was a discovery of their spiritual roots, which led to a new awareness of their African identity and culture. Rastafarian musicians found their inspiration from the Bible, like British reggae band Misty and Roots.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the wicked, I shall fear no evil. I'm gonna tell you why. Sure and steadfast as an anchor to a rock I shall stand. Lean on.
Lyndon Kwesi Johnson's reggae dub poetry was political, dealing with the experience of being black in Britain. The 70s was a period of intense social and political unrest. An economic downturn brought strikes, the 3-day week, and protests by black people for equality in jobs and the justice system. The Jamaican government launched a Come Back to Jamaica campaign. But those who went home found social and economic upheaval, with security forces patrolling the streets of Kingston in response to daily acts of intimidation and murder. In the 1980s, Jamaicans started influencing popular culture, and their entrepreneurial spirit took hold. The big demand for new black cosmetics created a market for which Tony Wade built Dyke & Dryden, Britain's first black multi-million-pound business. The success was honoured by the Prime Minister.
As the black population continues to grow, you have a lot of the young people who have a disposable income, and they of course are very fashion conscious. And of course the older people too, they also spend much more on themselves.
Jamaicans started integrating into the mainstream commercial fashion world. Lorna Holder was head of fashion at Davis & Field, one of the UK's largest dress manufacturing companies, and she went on to set up her own retail and beauty shops in London. Root, Britain's first black magazine, was co-founded by celebrated photographer and entrepreneur Neil Kenlock. Charlie Phillips' vast photographic collection of the Caribbean community has been exhibited and published widely. Sculptures by Jamaican-born George Foakin Kelly are held in many public and private art collections around the world.
Me say me can't believe it. My daughter boyfriend name is Sailor, and him pass through the port like a ship. More grand pitney for feed, and all that we need. What a night, what a plight, and me can't get a bite. My life is a stiff fight, and me can't believe it.
Jamaicans have long had a colorful turn of phrase. Beg yo a pana water. Today, Jamaican-style patois, music, and cultural images have made a big impact in business language and marketing. Jamaican culture is now a recognizable global brand. The Jamaican Hidden Histories project aims to enhance understanding about this distinctive cultural identity for present and future generations.